reviews, discussions, and theories about films in horror, sci-fi, and genre. This is the Horror Deconstruction. Like, share, and subscribe to hear more.
Hey you. Hey sweetheart. Hey lovely. What's going on? It's the Horror Deconstruction. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, most likely on YouTube. Give us a like, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell icon. Because somebody should. With your host Komp and
sound waves that look like penises.
as well as
Thea.
Today's film is
Some like it rare, otherwise known as Barbaque. Wait, how do you say it?
That's good.
Barbaque.
Barbaque.
2021.
We are very frisky this episode. Some like it rare. 21. Pascal and his wife Sophie have been running a small local butcher shop for about 20 years. Sophie stands with great love for her customers. Jesus, who wrote this shite? So a couple who own a barbecue, a meat store become cannibals. There you go.
This is like a whole thing.
It
What
is.
is this?
Somebody who must really appreciate
Actually.
French cinema. Directed by Fabrice Abu, written by Fabrice Abu and Vincent Solinac. I'm sorry, French people. Starring Marina Foy, Fabrice
I
Abu,
think you're doing a great job,
and
actually.
Jean-François Caire. Sorry, Thea would know what a real French accent sounds like. So, Thea, why did you pick Some Like It Rare, also known as Barbecue?
I think I saw it on a list of movies that came out in the last year that looked interesting. I think the poster it reminded me of Motel Hell, which I told you to watch.
Right, which I did.
Pretty soon after.
Yes.
And yeah, and the French make some weird horror movies, so I thought it might be
They
fun.
do.
Sweet. French makes
All
some great.
good from what I've
Danny's
seen.
favorite French horror movie was Shaitan, of course. Very good.
Of course it is.
So you do
I
know
like
about that movie,
one.
Thea. Obviously, my
yeah.
favorite French horror movie is called Martyrs, the original one, not that horrible remake. High Tension.
Pointless remake. honestly.
Haute Tension, which also has a great name as Switchblade Romance. That's a great fucking alternate title. So French do make great horror films. It's nice to go back into French territory. This is
They make great croissants.
I will
too.
say that I was very shocked because I'm so used to the dumbing down and the censoring of American humor to see this type of comedy in this film. For the fact that I actually warned Thea. I was like, hey, Thea, there's a big... I was like, there's a trans joke in this movie. Let's get out of it. We can't have the people...
That's
we
the
can't
tip
let
of
the
the
Twitter
iceberg.
people find
So
us.
quite a few penises and also racism. But it's...
Yeah.
Oh, just to point out really quick, because I didn't realize this, the guy who plays Vincent the Butcher also wrote and directed it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so he's
Yeah.
I guess I don't know what to call, because over here in America they call them African Americans, mostly to the hatred of African Americans. They just want to be called Americans.
No, I think he at one point they said they mentioned that he celebrates I forget which Muslim holiday, so I'm assuming he's probably like Arabic or something. I don't know. But
I will. I appreciate. I just got to say up front that I appreciate that it's darkest type of humor. It is not.
Yeah, it really is.
It does not care of who it offends. I don't know. Here's the thing, because I tried to sort of look up the actor who wrote it. He's a comedian. I guess he's a stand-up comedian. So, who's the greatest comedian we have right now in the United States? I guess it would be who's the guy dating Kim Kardashian, right? He's the greatest comedian of all time.
Is that the is that like
He's not
the
dating her anymore as of today.
the gunshot?
Oh, right. I don't know. Let's not even bring up his name.
What's his name? Like multi-shot machine gun head or something? Like
that's Megan Fox's very talented boyfriend.
what's his name?
Yeah. So this is
Machine Gun Kelly.
so this is
okay.
so this is a very darkly humorous type of film. It's very offensive comedy. I would like actually to go into how unique.
I
not
wonder.
unique.
I
but-
gotta wonder what his actual views are about veganism.
Yeah, because I was thinking about that as I said that. I was like, is this a comedian where... Because obviously everybody gets it in this type of comedy. Like, they make fun of white people and make fun of black people. Make fun
I mean,
of,
even though they're making fun of
Middle
vegans, like
Easterns.
the villain is a cannibal, so it's not really making a good case for meat
Yeah,
eaters
originally
either.
originally the script, it was supposed to be in the vegetarian's point of view. So it was supposed to be like the protagonists were vegetarians, but then you decided to switch it up for the cannibals to be the bad guys, and I thought it was a fantastic idea. I do want to get into the comedy because I don't know. There's different ways of sort of offensive humor nowadays. Like I don't give a fuck if it makes me laugh. I laugh. You know, I can't really control
on that, too.
what I laugh about. But a lot of people are very very sensitive because there's a lot of factions of people who want to be taken seriously and they just kind of been beaten down the whole time. But then there's always the view is like if you're getting made fun of, you're part of society, so you got to get goofed on. You can't be special.
Right.
But then there's people who like see words as violence, so it's a whole bunch of shit.
Yeah.
Personally, myself, I have to look at the originator of what the humor is.
I think the person who
if
wrote
it's
this
comedy,
synopsis
it's just comedy.
is doing violence because I'm still reading it, and it's so convoluted. Like,
So
what
I'm
the
still
fuck
reading
were they
it.
thinking?
It's like a fucking dictionary. So where I come from with like comedy myself, if it's just funny and it's funny, that's great. But if you get into the minutia and you find out who the person that's telling the joke is, if they're doing this because they're selling a certain point, then that's when you have a problem and you're like, oh, this person really like either has problems with gay people or they hate this. It's like the people complaining about like woke shit, and it's just like, what? Tell me what woke is. Like, what does that mean? Because they got a black person in it. There was somebody who complained about the latest. It could only laugh because it's sad. That somebody complained they saw a picture of the new Jurassic. I would not see a Jurassic Park if you pay me for that shit, because it's so boring, those movies. But they saw a photo of the main
Chris
actor. I
Pratt.
forgot the guy's name.
Yeah.
The guy who's in all the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, right? Him, and he's standing there with a black actress, and he says, "Oh, shit, the movie's woke." I was like, "What?"
These people are so fucking.
That's what makes a
stupid.
movie woke, is a black
Literally.
person in the movie. It's like, get the fuck out of
If
here.
there's not
man.
white people
I don't
in
get
this
it,
whole
whatever.
movie, then
So,
it's
like,
woke.
So now,
Other people exist that are slightly different.
Yeah,
than me?
it's so crazy.
That's woke.
because I will like. There's sometimes where it makes you think, like, because there's movies with like you'll never see like a redhead character in a film, because the redhead, it's almost like this.
I love
It's like
redheads.
ridiculous idea, but it's still funny, and not funny because there's a lot of characters that are in books that are redheads, and then when they make film adaptations, it's always changed it to an African American actor. And it literally happens a lot, and I was always laugh at it because like, at least redheads can complain about this.
There
because
aren't
they're
that many
not in
redheads.
movies
It's a
anymore.
rare thing.
But
There's some sort
I
of
know.
mutation freak.
But they still
thing.
exist. Danny's
I'm joking.
Danny, your favorite redhead of all time, Karen Gillan. She can't even show
love
off her
her.
hair in movies anymore. I remember when I told Danny
I met
there
her
was
in
this
real life.
salacious story. Yeah, I know. He met two.
I only
fucking
met
girls
her
in
at a show though. I didn't get to actually
there
have a
was, like,
conversation with her like the other one.
Danny was playing pants pocket pool with it. Anyway, so she so this movie is very dark, and in the way it's humor, it is. Did your partner get to watch it, or did you like? No, I'm not gonna let you watch this because of that.
No, I didn't. I
You
didn't bother.
consciously-
Also, just because it's not really their
Type of humor. Okay.
style. Yeah.
So, Thea, why don't you get into the storyline?
Were you?
Why don't you tell us what this movie is
Yeah.
about?
So basically, Sophie and Vincent Pascal have a little butcher shop. It's obviously doing not very good business, and they're competing with like their friends who have like a huge superstore version, basically, and are
hate them.
constantly talking about their money. So, and their marriage is failing, and so she basically says like, "I'm going to leave you." But the first inciting incident is that they get robbed by not robbed, I guess, but a bunch of vegans break in and throw paint
vandalized.
and vandalize their entire their entire.
It's like
butcher shop.
Pedo when they throw fake
So-
blood on celebrities that are wearing mink fur and stuff like that.
And before they all run away, but Vincent manages to catch one of them, so he sees his face. And so later, when he sees him again, he kills him.
He drives him over purposely, backs
And
into him.
he hits him with his car, and
Slightly accidental, I would say.
slightly. Well, I mean,
think he meant to
really hit him.
Yeah,
He probably meant to hit. Like,
I think he meant
hit
to
him,
like scare him more than anything, like maybe knock him off the bike.
maybe
Yeah,
not
so,
run him
yeah.
over.
Yeah, I don't think he meant to kill him. Like,
But then he's dead. So Sophie eventually suggests, I think, or no, sorry, she doesn't
just says
suggest.
chop
He
him
just
up and
does
get
it.
rid of the body.
She says you have to get rid of the body, and he makes the body into ham, which he tells people
Iranian
is
ham, right?
Iranian,
Yeah. Iranian pork.
or Iranian
Yeah.
pork. Yeah.
So
I like
and
that
people
story.
So the
love
interesting
The
thing about this
Iranian
film is that it seems very topical, but it feels like a very old school movie because it's not worried about
Yeah.
offending people, because it is offensive all around, which I loved so much
Yeah.
about it. Like,
Because they're
It
cannibals.
was topical in the fact that like veganism, like I think making fun of vegetarians is such like an old joke. It's like a joke from like the 1980s or something, or 1990s even.
I mean, it's the entire plot of Troll
Right.
2.
So, but it works here.
And that's a brilliant
And
movie.
Marina Foy's
is.
character Sophia is like obsessed with real true crime, which is like a huge thing. That's why like so many of those channels exist, because people are so obsessed with true crime nowadays. I'm sure they've always been obsessed with true crime. That's what. Just watch the fucking.
I
Especially
like how like
yeah.
ultimately they get to be on the show that they're watching. The whole
Yeah.
time.
So they're a miserable couple.
Yeah.
Their sex life is gone. So this is like the sort of spice that brings them back into, I guess, the zest for life. And I fucking dig it so much that it wasn't like, it wasn't trying to convey a message, because you can be like, oh,
No.
this wasn't about a convention. This is saying anything. It's just pure entertainment for the fact to make you laugh. And very rarely can
was
you
very
see like
funny.
that, because what happens is, because people believe Twitter is a real like place that makes any difference. It usually does make a difference nowadays, Twitter, but because people are giving focus to it.
Right.
Like certain films have to have a certain idea to it, or you can't say a certain word, or you're offending somebody, or this I'm offended because there's not enough white characters, or there's not enough black characters. And this movie doesn't do that, because this movie is just basically goofing on everything, and it doesn't have
when
that
they,
shit to it.
I don't know if
Yeah.
you guys picked up. I'm sure you did pick up on it actually. When they killed the black chick, and it for like 2 seconds it played
Nefertiti,
rap
yeah.
music.
It played
The
what?
music is,
For 2
it's
seconds, when
questionable.
they killed the black chick, they played like a 2-second clip of hip hop music. Like,
But they
while
played
he
it
was
over and
cutting her
over in
up.
the movie. But he called her.
Yeah, no, isn't that the one that they play? Like,
Yeah, it
almost
was
every
like
time
I
he
think the guy's related
kinda
to
kills
the
somebody?
musician or something. But yeah, and the part that I laughed at, because he was like, "Hey, Nefertiti, Nefertiti," he was yelling that word, and I was like, "What is that?" And that was the
Right.
name of a of a track runner who's like 24 years old in France. So it's like not a joke for an American, but that's like he was chasing her because she was black and she was a track runner. I was like, "Oh my god, this is so funny." But the main character is like a person of color, and the part that had me, I know
Yeah.
the part where I was like, "Holy shit!" is when he first tries to attack that first guy. And so then he
Yeah.
he yells like an Islamic
Oh my God.
slur, and I was like, "Holy
Yeah.
shit!" I was like, I couldn't believe it. And they were like saying shit about like even when they were like not chopping up white people because they had smaller penises. I was like, "Oh my god, what the fuck?" It was like because they were pudgy. They go for everybody, and I appreciated how funny that was, because it was.
Well, that's why I think he was Muslim, because at one point they mentioned I don't know how to say it, but Eid.
Oh, right,
you know,
EID,
it's like
right, Eid.
it's a Muslim holiday.
Eid Mubarak.
yeah,
what?
I'd more about it.
I think it's Eid Mubarak.
Right.
Yeah. So they mentioned him celebrating that
Right.
like randomly, like in one of the dialogues, and so I'm pretty sure he is. I'm sure he's not religious because he eats pork and stuff, but like,
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that he is. So yeah, I guess I don't know.
It's
It was
super
funny.
s-
So he's allowed to make those kinds of jokes.
It's super
'Cause he is
slickly.
Muslim.
It's super slickly directed. Like the characters are bastards. Like it's funny because like I rooted for Sophie and Vincent to a point, but like when they started like killing innocent
Yeah.
sort of people that are just like vegans, I was like,
Yeah.
She's really the bad influence.
is.
Though.
Well,
Well,
he
and they're
still
looking
does
at like both looking at the kid. I was like, oh.
Yeah, and he like at least had some sort of self-restraint to be like, oh fuck, I can't do this. This is a fucking child. You know what I mean? So the thing I appreciate
Right.
is that like it's one of those movies where like all these people are like they're fun to laugh at and watch this movie, because I think they end up killing over 30 people in the film. There's a great like montage scene where they're chopping people up. There's nudity in it. There's like male penises shown everywhere, and it's like that type of humor where like, oh shit, here it goes. Like we're just gonna be offensive, and it's great. And
How do they get rid of
Yeah.
the bones? What do they do with the bones?
Danny's made up.
Whatever they
there's
do
a
with the
dog
animal
walking
ones,
around
I
with a human hand in its mouth. It's so stupid. The dog eats a penis. Remember? He just runs.
Yeah, no, but
he
penises
starts-
don't have bones
I
as
know.
hard as they get.
Speak
Like,
for yourself.
They
But I
don't?
appreciate.
They don't.
I appreciate it at the end. Like,
they got little miniature spines in them, actually, like little vertebrae.
like I was grateful at the end because I was
Like an
like,
alien.
okay, I've had fun with these two, but they need to get caught, and they did. They get caught at the end.
Yeah,
It's like one of those
they
things
did.
where you like.
Yeah, I think it was a very wrapped up, very nice.
Yeah, because it
actually.
was like it's not like an existential threat thing like American Psycho. Like American Psycho is a completely different type of comedy, although it's obviously a black comedy where he's not caught and he's in this perpetual hell. The whole
I would
time.
say this is less of a black comedy than that.
No, I
mean,
think they're
well,
the same type of.
it's
They're
less
not the
dark-
same
it doesn't
type,
feel
but they
as
certainly
dark.
are black comedies. They're both
I mean, this is much more like lighthearted and easy
Yeah,
to
yeah,
digest. That's much more like heavy, in my opinion.
Yeah, so they had this whole thing where like Vincent and his wife, or like their daughter, a very pretty young actress was playing the daughter also. She's dating a vegan, and you're waiting because like once that character is introduced, like, oh, this guy's fucked. But
He's so annoying.
But
Oh
Vince,
my
I
god.
know. But he looks like the Deep from The Boys, so I'm sure people aren't that offended by how handsome he is in the movie.
The people when they did the dinner scene, and like every second is a clip of, oh, I can't have that wine because blah blah
Yeah,
blah.
yeah.
Oh, I can't do.
Yeah.
I like was actually like laughing.
So
like,
yeah,
really
so I
hard.
don't know if this is a movie made for a specific audience of like meat eaters, let's say, that people that don't have. I think this is a movie made for anybody who can laugh at themselves. Because I'm sure there's vegans
Yeah.
watching
Yeah.
this movie.
I know
laughing about
vegans
it.
who would
Of
laugh at
course,
this
yeah.
movie, for
You would
sure.
hope.
Yeah.
You would hope people could.
Because it's so over
very
the top.
ridiculous
Like, it's
movie.
very obviously
Was there any-
pretty campy.
I don't know. I
silly.
mean, I know like 4 or 5 vegans, and none of them are like preachy about it. Like, no,
Oh, I thought you were gonna be like, and they're all like this.
no, they're all like super chill about it. They don't.
Because
Yeah,
I was almost
exactly.
afraid at the end when the 3 so rebellious vegans at the end take them on. I thought, oh, they're gonna just like they're gonna blame these vegans, but then why would the vegans kill their own vegans?
Is it vegan or
Vegans.
vegan? I always say.
I always say vegan.
I always say
but
vegan.
I don't
think
really know.
vegans are people who don't know. Vegans, get it? Thank you. That worked.
That's-
I'm glad that
that
worked.
was
for
very.
Yeah, that's
That's
good.
a
That's
good joke.
good.
Yeah, I kind of saw that coming because all these types of films always need a third act villain for some reason. Like it's almost like
Right.
when I was talking about every time I bring up Breaking Bad, it's not gonna. Do you guys what? You both watched Breaking Bad, correct?
Of course,
Yeah.
I've seen
So,
it. But spoiler alert
Right.
for anybody
Not
who
really.
hasn't
It's
seen
not
one
really
of the best
spoilers.
shows
It's
ever
just sort of a
made.
general idea. At the very end, like you have Walter White, who's the bad guy, clearly the bad guy of the series. But let's have somebody
Yeah.
real bad. Let's have a Nazi show up because he's more evil than a regular white guy. He's a super white guy. You know, it's like one of those things. So they had to do that with
Yeah.
this, where now it was the Nazis, but they were vegans, and I guess they sort of look at Nazis as vegans as Nazis, and vice versa in this, which I appreciated because they had that fine ass chick that was with them, and I guess whoever likes guys, I feel
Yeah, I
bad
would have.
because
I
these
would
guys are
have
pretty
eaten
rough looking.
fucking imitation.
That one
cheese
guy
for
reminded
dinner.
me
Oh
of
my
you,
God.
Danny. Though I'm sure I reminded Danny of one of those the fat guys in the tub. But the one guy at the end with the mustache,
I would
with
eat
the
you.
with the shaved head, reminded me of Danny because he's like this gangly but powerful man.
Also, how do they know? Oh, thank you. How do they know that meat eaters don't taste
Yeah,
good?
you're right. Very
They never tried
very
them.
graphically gory too. I appreciated the gore in this movie because it was
Yeah,
it
the
was
good
a good
effects.
graphic gore. It was sort of like a great comedy was obviously Idle Hands, and that had some good gore to it, and they weren't afraid of showing
Yeah.
gore.
Oh, I love
yeah,
that
great
movie.
And this had some really good like kills of people. I like the part where they were destroying his rival's meat market, and he was about to take a shit on the photo of the guy. It was just like that. They had to yank him away from trying to stop taking a shit. Was there anything that didn't work for you with this movie, guys?
The music.
A rap song, huh?
Yeah?
The rap
The-
music bothered you?
Well, no, just in general, like I think some of the songs that were picked, like sometimes it was funny, and then sometimes it was just like, oh, this takes
What's
away
interesting
from it,
about French
in a way.
cinema, for me, honestly, is I think it's like, and I mean this in the greatest of terms, is that a lot of their stuff is like stuck in the late '90s, and by that I
Yeah.
mean the aesthetics, because they use they still. I watched this.
Yeah, but that's good.
I watched. Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
There's a movie that I saw on Shudder called Candisha, which is a French horror film, which is like a female Candyman. It was about a Muslim woman who was like a female Candyman.
Is it good?
And I was talking to a fellow YouTuber who was like, they couldn't believe at how the characters spoke to each other. Very much like they're not afraid to ethnically insult each other in that
Right.
movie. And because this is an American person, they were like, I can't believe it. And this is a woman of color who was like offended by it. I was like, this is how people of color talk to each other. I'm Latino.
Was
We goof on each other like
was
that
the
all
movie
the time.
good?
I liked it. I liked
Candyman?
it. It was gory. It was like a female Candyman. It wasn't as good as Candyman, but it was fun. And it's graphic and it's gross and shit like that. And it's just basically a female spirit that kills men throughout the whole movie. And French, it felt like a movie from the 90s, but just like updated visually. And so that's what I like about French cinema, at least the ones that I've seen. And there was a poster for a movie called The Supremes, which I think was a French rap group. And I think they're really into electro and like 90s type of music over there. Like it never leaves. Like that's why you hear Euro pop and Euro disco and stuff like that. And that's what I think works with this movie because it feels like a movie that like is 10 years ago not in a regressive way, but it hasn't been affected by whatever political bullshit is happening now.
Society has only collapsed since the 90s. So
yeah, exactly.
It's good to go back to then.
And it's like
the earlier you can go, the better.
I think this guy has only directed like a handful of movies, but it's a solid movie.
Well,
like
he wrote, directed, and acted.
And the thing is, you've seen this type of comedy before, but this is so well packaged together.
Did this remind you
funny.
of the happiness of the
Kategories?
Yeah.
That is a movie that I can't even like. I enjoyed that movie, but I don't think I enjoyed it as much because it's such a strange movie.
Right.
No, this is a better movie, like technically speaking.
Although I was watching a Takashi Miike movie on YouTube called Dead or Alive Part 2. Dead or Alive 1, for anybody watching a Takashi Miike movie, has hands down the greatest ending in the history of any film. You haven't, and we should review it one day. It has the greatest ending of any movie of all time, and I want to tell you what it is, but you have to see the ending of Dead or Alive. Watch the movie.
Takashi Miike is like...
And I was watching Dead or Alive 2 because Takashi Miike, and I'm sorry I'm going to this little Takashi Miike rant, he directs like 20 movies a year, and that's not really normal for people. He does like 12 to 20 movies a year. I don't know. I think he slowed down recently, but I was just watching Dead or Alive 2, and I'm like watching it how artistically it's done. I was like, fuck, man, this guy's got talent. So go watch the Takashi Miike movie. Back to this, I didn't have any issues with it. I thought it was fucking funny. I love the gore in it. A storyline that would be so fucking like boring and usual, because like they've done this before. Like there was, I'm sure there was like a Tales from the Crypt episode with
Thea said Motel Hell.
Yeah, of course, that too, and that was a fun movie too. And Tales from the Crypt did an episode with Christopher Reeve, where he was like a chef chopping up people, and his business got back and got good. You know what I mean? So it was like that.
Was this before or after the horse
also,
accident or skiing accident?
I assume it was way before because he's walking and talking. Did you know this? This is a very
it's a bit Sweeney Todd too.
Yes, yes, of course.
Oh yeah.
And this is a very fucked up story, but this is very bad. Christopher Reeve. There was a commercial that I think aired during the Super Bowl where they superimposed Christopher Reeve's head on a moving man's body because it was like,
oh no.
They were like, put money into science so one day this can happen. So what happened is there was a commercial of like, I remember this commercial because I saw it as a kid, and it's like a guy and it's like Christopher Reeve's head and it's like badly digitally imposed, and what happened? People in wheelchairs saw that commercial and they tried to stand up and they all fell out of their chairs and they tried to sue the company.
Oh my god.
I'm not laughing at disabled. It's just like, it's so that's this type of humor for this movie, and that's why I appreciate it. So I mean, I love the movie. I thought it was great, and I'm so glad because the poster I think does not give the movie justice.
No,
I was like looking at it, I was like, it's
a little cheesy.
Yeah, it's a little cheesy.
It's more on the.
Let me look at the poster. Hold on.
The poster is pretty campy, but I was like,
if this was made in America, they would cut more than half of the shit out. Like they wouldn't show anything. They wouldn't even show the guy's dick when his dead body. They would just show it.
I don't know. I don't mind this poster. It's cute.
I mean,
now that we've seen it, of course,
it's simple and cute.
Yeah, now that we've seen it, we're like, oh, okay, fine. But like before, I was like, what is this about? But it was it's a great movie. So, Thea, what rating would you give Some Like It Rare, also known as Barbecue, 2021?
I'm gonna give it a 7.8 out of 10. Pissing on the 3D cutout of your competitor, and it never felt so good.
I would give this movie an 8 out of 10, 8.5 out of 10. Just, teasing your wife with a disembodied penis and then feeding it to your dog. Denny, what rating would you give Barbecue / Some Like It Hot 2021? I'm Some Like It Rare.
Give it a 9 out of 10.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah, I like this movie.
I don't disagree with you.
It was very
9 out of 10
comfortable. I
what?
could watch it like 4 times. A 9 out of 10. Finding a bullied person named Winnie and making fun of them in their last moments before scaring them to death into a heart attack.
But it was their one regret.
I thought that was sort of a sweet.
True.
I thought that was sort of a sweet final line in the movie. They were like, "You have any regrets?" He goes, "Winnie," and that's how it ended. I really enjoyed it, and it makes you remember that there's more movies out there that are not like Transformers or fucking Fast and the Furious. There are French cinema So do yourself a favor, go watch some French cinema, go watch some Takashi Miike also, go watch Dead or Alive.
Yeah, definitely watch
Greatest
Takashi
ending of all
Miike.
time. And with that, Thea, what's the final word?
Gross.
Danny, what's the final word?
My